Welcome, everyone. My name is Jahira. I'm here with Blackbridge Capital Partners. This is Synergy in Multifamily Growth and Mindset Talks. And today we have the honor of having Willie and Eddie here. Willie, you are from WB Capital Holdings. And Eddie, you are currently managing partners of Epic Properties Ventures, correct? Make
Yep,
sure I'm good on
you
everyone.
got
All
it.
right,
Yes.
perfect. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. And I really can't wait to just get to know you guys a little bit more.
Thank you. It's an honor and pleasure for you giving us the opportunity to be here. So I want to thank you again.
Well, I can say
Yeah,
I love when you guys go on live, so hopefully it'll be just as good.
definitely excited.
Amazing. So let's just jump right in, right? Can you guys, and we'll kind of go, whoever wants to tackle it first, but share a little bit about your professional journey. How'd you guys got started in real estate investing?
Go ahead, Eddie. Where you want me to go?
Yeah, so I can start here. So I grew up around real estate. My father, he had investment properties, smaller kind of residential, single families up to like a quadplex. So I was always kind of helping him out. That's how he brought me and my brother in, and he emphasized two things. It was education and then hard work. So hard working, helping them with the property. And then the priority was education, going to school. So obviously did that, went into tech, got 2 degrees, the most expensive pieces of paper I ever paid for. And then, yeah, somewhere along the journey, I just said, like, this isn't where, I kind of want to be or solely focus on. So then, I kind of took a step back into real estate. I always helped them kind of manage what we had, but then started kind of just hitting the acquisitions a little bit more, optimizing everything. And then COVID came around. It was difficult to make a lot of things work. And I said, there's a lot of competition. Why don't I just go bigger? And that's how I kind of got started in multifamily.
Now, you just said you have the two most expensive papers. Are those the ones right behind you?
Yes, yes,
Yep.
those.
You have to make sure they're highlighted, right? Because that's
Yes, I know.
expensive. Education is really expensive nowadays. And all
Oh
you
my
get is your
God.
diploma, so you have to show it off every single time you get. But
And it's
Willie,
get
please let me know a little bit about your background as well. In
so
your journey, you got into it.
so so before I got into real estate, I was taking care of people with disabilities for 7 years, third shift. Um, so during that time, COVID hit. You could just fast forward, right? COVID hit, and I didn't take my shot based on my beliefs. And my sister, who was actually the one that brought me into the multifamily, she's actually a broker. You name it, like she's an MVP property manager. She found the one day workshop. She paid for that, and she paid for the 3 days, right? And I was the last one on her list. I was the last one on her list to invite to get invited, right? She invited her boyfriend, didn't want to go, they didn't believe in it. She invited all her realtor friends, and then she invited me. So that's how I really got into it. But during that time, when I lost my job, I always had an entrepreneur mindset. I got it from my father. My father was a single barber raising 5 kids, working hard, and that's all I knew. Like, see my dad work hard, so I wanted to work hard. I wanted to be a business owner. During high school, I took business classes and I had some college, not degrees. Based on my background, I had to work and take help my dad take care of the household. So I couldn't finish community college. So I would either way. I started my entrepreneurial life. I started a trucking company during COVID, and then real estate came during that time through my sister, and that's how I got into the multifamily. Went to the 3 day workshop. During that time, I also got into the flips. She found out off market flips, and that's why I started my single family flip career too.
Wow, just how luck has it, right? Like everyone
Yeah.
else said no. Had just one person kind of be like, yeah, sure, I'll go with you, even if they weren't even interested. But you made it. It's like it was meant to happen, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's just during COVID, a lot of COVID happened and just skyrocketed my trajectory in life.
Yeah, I feel like COVID changed everyone's life. It was definitely, we're definitely not in the same world that we were before pre-COVID or anything like that. But for you guys, what do you find was like your biggest challenges, especially like coming from different backgrounds? Well, for you, Eddie, you kind of had a little bit of a background in real estate with your dad. But even that can have its own challenges. What do you guys feel was those challenges that you had to like overcome?
Willie, you can take this one first now.
So um, ask that question again. Like the challenge of getting into multifamily or just challenges
Yeah,
in
what
general?
would be your biggest challenges when you face when you like first entered into multifamily?
Um,
And let's add in,
my
how you
my my
overcame.
my biggest challenge was during my first 6 months, right? I was trying to do it all by myself. Um, I was trying to underwrite, raise capital, acquisitions. I took all the roles. So during that, because my sister, she also is like she's a, as people know, property management is not for everybody. It's a full-time job. It's a 24-hour job. So and she also has kids. So during the first 6 months, she wasn't really like really in it. I was in it by myself. You know what I mean? So that was my biggest challenge, like trying to do everything myself. So then during time I talk, right? I'm like, what did I do? Right? I'm trying to do all this all by myself. Like, sister ain't helping me. I can't do multi-thing by itself. So she like, I'll get on the Tuesday networking calls and, try to find partners. So during that time, that's why I found Eddie. During a breakout room, right? You find your partner in a breakout room. I don't even know. Probably I was the only breakout room we had, right? That was the first time we met. Then we just got on call after and we just started kicking it. So that
It
was my
was the
biggest.
first call.
Yeah, that
It was the
was my
first call.
biggest challenge for 6 months. Yeah, finding partners.
For me, the biggest challenge was, I felt so comfortable in my circle, and we were kind of all like doing the same thing. We're all in tech, we're all in real estate. We have an entrepreneurial kind of mindset, wanting to do kind of bigger things. When I presented this, it was like, what are you talking about? Their response was very curated in a special way towards me, right? But what I read between the lines was like, this is like too huge. Like, how are you gonna do it? All we knew was residential. You do everything yourself. And even with my father, like I already knew that if I presented this like right off the gate, there was going to be a lot of pushback because he likes keeping everything, in-house, doing a lot of the construction, doing pretty much everything himself, right? Or us. So for me, it was just kind of branching out, going into a different circle, expanding my network with people that had a different mindset and viewed the business differently. So we don't have to do everything. We leverage partners, we delegate, we empower people. And that's what I kind of like, we do that at work, right? In our careers or whatever path we're down, we can also do this in real estate. So a lot of these skills that I kind of honed in and developed, they translated to multifamily. The biggest thing was, who am I going to do it with? So again, kind of just that journey up to networking, meeting Willie, and then we just kind of hit the floor running there.
No, my God, absolutely. So you guys are both kind of unknowingly to each other. You guys were looking for the same thing. You guys were looking for the right partners, right? Willie, you kind of felt like you essentially not abandoned, but you were kind of left on your own to be like, all right, you figure this out now. And Eddie, you were like, I have people, but they don't see the same vision I see. So it works out that you guys were both looking for each other in a sense, without even knowing. So I give props to Destiny at that one. How did the partnership between you guys, aside from that networking, how did you guys build on that, right? Because you started with one conversation, but on the first conversation, you don't always 100% know that this is the person you're going to stick with, right? You're hoping and praying that you find the right person. But how do you guys know, and in what moment did you guys know that, okay, this is the person I'm going to go the distance with?
I Willie, you can take this one on because you have a longer memory span than I do.
So I think we set up a call. We set up a call, and then we didn't we shared our goals, our values, right? Where we came from. So we come from like both Hispanic. So we come from like a hard upbringing, like D neighborhoods, C minus neighborhoods. So that's what really how I connected well with him, and he, and then we just kept setting up calls, and we was getting on these calls on time. Like y'all seen that he was working, he was keeping his word, like, calling brokers, and I was calling investors, and he kept his word on the stuff he was gonna do. We went through during that time we went through a lot of different partners, right? We both were underwriting, but that's not our superpower, right? So, we decided to look for an underwriter during probably was like 2 months into our partnership, and then we found a certain individual, but he wasn't keeping up, right? We had all these deals, and it was taking him a week, 2 weeks just to even get him to us. And also, we was training him to underwrite, right? We all paid the 40,000, so we all had to go through path, right? You had to everybody got to learn how to underwrite. So we during that we just had it. Or Eddie had a hard conversation with him to like this partnership ain't gonna work, right? Because we can't keep train you to underwrite and also try and do our superpower. So that's all. Yeah, really, our values align and our goals really align.
Yeah, to kind of paint the picture a little bit more, when we first started connecting and jumping on calls together, there is, those skills, that mindset. Honestly, I think that's how we connected. Like the same thing that Willie just said, I saw from him as well. And one thing that I always looked at was if someone is able to keep their word, right? When they say they're going to do something, are they getting it done? And it was, quickly able to realize that when Willie said something, it was done. And when it was done, it was, he did it to the best of his abilities, and we're able to then go on to the next step, right? So, and we're still kind of learning at this point, but we're kind of putting in the time, we're investing the dollars to get it to the point where we feel comfortable, obviously still learning, but then continuing on. So, we had these conversations. We said, hey, like this relationship, this the one that we're building, this working relationship, it is it's easy, like there's a lot of things that we need to figure out and actually work, with a lot of obstacles. And I felt, and I'm sure Willie feels the same way, is that we also shouldn't add a business relationship to something that like we have to work on, right? We should understand each other. We're all adults here. This is a business, and everyone should do exactly what they say they're going to do. That's right. The next thing, Meg, was like integrity, right? So that was huge. And, we had other partners. We assumed the same thing. It wasn't, anything that someone was going to come, blindly into. We set the expectations from the beginning. This is what we're expecting. This is what we need from you, and then this is what you can expect from us. If you need anything else, feel free to let us know. And it just wasn't a priority. So I know that for Willie and I, this was a priority. We invested not just the monetary, right? We invested time, effort, sweat, a lot of frustration along the journey. And this was something that like him and I knew that like we were gonna get done. So difficult conversations needed to be had, but at the end of the day, it was like, what's gonna be the best decision for the business?
Absolutely. And now, aside from honesty, right? Because I think honesty is, honesty, integrity, those are all top tier importance. For me, it's always been transparency. I love transparency because I'd rather know first than know after, right? I want to know things as they're happening. But for you guys, what do you feel is essential for a strong partnership aside from honesty and integrity?
That's a hard question. It's really like the integrity, right? The accountability. Obviously, we can't be two of the same type of person or people. We have to complement each other, and that's what business is. Imagine if every business had the exact same kind of cutout person, cookie cutter person, like it wouldn't be as innovative as they could be. So Willie had some very strong skills. I had some in my own way, and they just kind of complemented. I came from a sales background, tech background, so I was really good with just having conversations, negotiating, kind of going back and forth, understanding numbers to a certain point. We have a third partner that does underwriting, and he loves going to spreadsheets. And Willie, a lot of the building and nurturing relationships. I always joke with him that, at the beginning, he said that he was an introvert. But when we went to our first conference together, which was Peak Partnership, he was networking with everybody. By the second day, everyone knew his name. He's like walking down the hallway, hey, Willie, hey, Willie, hey, Willie. I'm like, you lied to me, man. You knew everybody. And he was like just a master networker. His questions and the type of conversations that he had were very well positioned and strategic and more kind of value based. So like a lot of people, wanted to get to know Willie and build with Willie and connect with him.
I don't feel like Willie's an introvert. I feel like
Right?
I've
Well,
noticed
I think
he was an introvert.
I'm a friend for that, the mindset part, because I was very like shallow person in my circle, quiet. But MFM really opened me up to like really want to talk to people, get to learn, add value to others, because before that I was just on go, you know.
Mhm. Just to build off of that,
Um,
because I know that your forte really is connecting with people, and like Eddie said, and I do see that in you, that you value more protecting your investors or the people that you plan on potentially telling about your deals or any offerings that you may have, what their values are, right? What they're seeking. So I guess that leads me into our next section of the question, to go over investment strategy. So what criteria do you use to identify a promising multifamily investment opportunity? Not even just on the numbers side, but more so for your investors.
you go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. So what we look for is, you know, we at this year, we kind of refocused and set a different type of parameter for what we're looking for. We look at three different things. We take a look at the operators, we take a look at the market, and then we take a look at the deal. And we need to feel comfortable with each of these before we even think about investing any of our investors' dollars into it, right? We always go into every deal that either we're underwriting or that someone, asks us to be a part of and partner with and raise capital for. That main question is, will we allow our parents to invest in this deal? And if the answer is no, then we say no. Like there is no finagling. There is no, let me see if we can try to make it work. There have been a few instances, and we always kind of came back to this question. So what we look for is just, operators that are experienced. We look for operators that have that kind of slight edge right now, specifically in where we are in the market, either construction background or just, have that kind of operational mindset and processes. So I think right now, with a lot of people going underwater, losing the properties, giving back the keys, this is the key. So it's the operator, the market. Obviously, the larger the property, the more comfortable we need to feel with the market. Everything that we kind of already know, population growth, job growth, and lastly, the deal. Um, all the major components, they have to be updated. It can be a 60 build, but if all the plumbing, all the electrical, roofing, everything has been taken care of and it pencils, then we feel comfortable with that.
They brought from everything. I ain't ever seen anything else.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess let's expand a little bit on that. 'Cause you said everything in terms of like plumbing and all that. How do you guys approach doing that research? During the due diligence period, obviously, typically you have like a day and a half, maybe even 2 days if you're lucky, right, to go through the property. But how do you confirm and verify that everything's up to your standards?
Yeah. So we have a couple different, you know, I'd say parts in our process. First is with the broker. Um, they're not always going to know, or they're going to have the wrong information. So we want to hear it from him, whether they know or not. And even if we hear, yes, it has been updated, then we're still going to, trust but verify. When we take a look at a certain vintage and a certain market, we already know like some of the things that are going to, most likely come out, right? So one of our markets is Kansas City. We know that we're going to see old properties there. Like we saw one from like the 1900s. I think that was a vintage 1900. So we know like a lot of these things are going to be super outdated. And it just came from understanding a little bit of the construction, understanding the market, understanding just underwriting deals. So we start with the broker, then we do the tour, and we want to kind of get into it, right? And we have people kind of really dig in, take pictures, take videos, if we aren't there. And then, obviously everything kind of unfolds during the due diligence process. But we try to, even before we get to that, feel pretty comfortable about the state of the property.
Absolutely.
And
Everything.
I want to add to that. Also, our partners in Dallas that we work with, they got over 20 years of construction experience, so they're already on it before we're even on it ourselves.
Yeah.
It does help to have that background, right? To have a little bit of knowledge of just the building structures. So aside from doing the due diligence and, you're saying you're researching as you're going, are there any current trends that you guys currently see in multifamily that might impact or change the way that you guys strategize?
Yes. Hard yes. I think like where we are in the market, obviously interest rates is a huge conversation. Everyone kind of thought that, hey, we're gonna have like 4 cuts by now. Okay, 2, all right, maybe a half. Maybe we might get the half. But I think a lot of people are getting to that point or are getting excited, around the future of real estate just because like we're nearing the end of we're in the second quarter, summertime activity, from what we understand prior to COVID, like this is time for a lot of activity. Yeah, I think it's still like down over a year, and even we're still down. There's not a lot of properties out there. Price points are still kind of outrageous. So like one trend that we see is like we don't know if it's gonna get better. We're coming into it thinking that like it might get a little worse before it does. So from underwriting standpoint, we want to be conservative as far as entry and exit cap rate. So we've actually seen other people that presented deals to us with very aggressive cap rates. Yeah. So we still don't know what's gonna happen, right? Like everyone thought we're gonna have multiple rate cuts. We haven't had any. The other thing is kind of affordability. So everything is going up, trying to, Fed's doing the best to kind of maintain, inflation. I think it's at a good point right now, but just, keeping in mind, you know, affordability. So we know a lot has been going into like Sun Belt, right? Everybody's kind of scared of Sun Belt. We got into a deal in Dallas because people are scared and the price point was good and it was a great opportunity. So you can still find them, but it's a needle in a haystack. So, also taking a look at some of like Northeast and Midwest, right? Like when you take a look at a lot of the the rankings or charts, like you'll see a lot of Northeast and Midwest cities kind of popping off. So we're taking a look at smaller properties, larger properties, different markets where we see the cycles will eventually be, right? It might just end up going back to the Sun Belt after everyone gets into Midwest and Northeast. So trying to stay ahead of the curve there.
Well, that kind of leads me into my next question, right? Are there any emerging markets or regions you guys are particularly excited about right now?
Doing more focus on the operators. We'll partner up if we trust and we know, like, and trust the operators. We're open to markets. Just, the numbers gotta work for us. But for us, deals, there's a lot of deals everywhere. It's just that the team. Most important is the team, because we're getting approached by a lot of different operators left and right. We're just vetting them out to see if we want to potentially partner up with them. And it's different markets that we haven't looked at, But we looked at KC. We was big in KC, Jacksonville, and Dallas. However, we're getting deals from North Carolina. I'm gonna start looking in my backyard. Eddie, we're gonna look in Chicago and Indiana. So it's really more important is the team. That's our strategy right now.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as they can show you the research that they've done, right? Like you could go ahead and verify everything based on their research. But if it all makes sense, then you guys are absolutely open to it. No, that's great.
Definitely.
So I'm going to ask you guys for a little bit of advice, right? What advice do you give maybe new investors that are looking to get into multifamily now?
Slow and steady wins the race, right? Trust the process, right? There's a lot of deals out there, right? Just make sure you get into the right deal. You don't have to get into, like, it took us 2 years to get into our first deal, right? But we was underwriting, making sure that we submitted it, or we could actually, provide what we promised our investors, right? We didn't just do a deal to do a deal. So my advice is, slow and steady, trust the process. The deal's gonna come. We all know, 2025, 2026, a lot of stuff is gonna come online because people, got into bad lending. So yeah, that's my advice. Trust the process and, trust and verify.
I think one of the things that is a little bit of a misconception is that you're going to jump in and you're going to do everything in like a month, right? But if realistically it takes us so many years to learn, let's say our original trades that we are in, right? Like I'll give myself an example. I've worked in the nonprofit world for 5 years. I had no clue coming into multifamily what multifamily was. So even just to grasp my mind around that it took time. It took time to fully understand, this opportunity that was presented to me and what it could do for myself, for my family, and for generations to come. So 100% it's take your time, trust the process. And I want to just add in, like, don't give up, right? Everyone gets frustrated
Yeah.
at some points, and it's so easy to just be like, you know what, I'm going to go back to my old life.
There's
But
a lot of, in our world, right? There's a lot of adversity you go through, right? Mentally, right? There's a lot of up and downs. I know at one point, our team, we wasn't prepared to submit an LOI, right? And that's a learning experience, right? We learn from our mistakes. I believe how many units was this, Eddie? It was like 120 in KC, and we were scrambling for a
128.
sponsor,
Yeah.
right? We were scrambling, right? But the very next week we all sat down like, hey, what we did wrong? Who do we need to connect to? You know what I mean? What? And that's when we got our systems together. So yeah, just go through it, man. This journey is really, really, like he said, delayed gratification. Eventually, you will get into your first deal. It's just a matter of when and what partners you want to work with too.
through my nonprofit, I currently am going to libraries and we have little keychains. And one of my favorite keychains that I give out is sometimes you win and sometimes you learn, right? And in those failures that we have, instead of taking them as just failures, it's an opportunity to say, I've learned a lesson. I can be better. So that, how do you guys stay informed? How do you guys continue to feed yourself, right? To feed knowledge into yourselves?
We do a lot of, podcasts, newsletters. I'm huge on YouTube. That's like replaced almost Netflix and every other streaming service right now. Networking with people and just reading a bunch of like articles and kind of all the information that's coming out. So I always try to play this, you know, have this like little internal game where I try to, guess what's going to happen in the next couple months or in the future, and then see if it pops up in some report or newsletter like later on, right? So like, you know, Willie and I, we flew down to, and the rest of our team, we flew down to KC. We're huge on KC, toured properties, building relationships. We came with, we had that deal at hand, negotiated something ridiculous. It was a ridiculous discount. I think they had it like somewhere around like 8 mil. We brought it down to maybe like 5 or so. And he asked us to submit the offer. We didn't have the key components, so we never did. We still have a great relationship. We maintain that, and we still get deal flow. But definitely a learning opportunity there. But I say all of that to say that, when you start seeing the trends, it's not enough to just follow them. It's kind of figuring out what's next. And that's that little game that I kind of play, in my head, and what we're like, doing together as a business. We see what's going on now. How is that going to impact, everything going forward? When we're in KC, then months later, we start seeing it like number one in rent growth and city and market to be. So we're always thinking ahead, right? And really just ingesting a lot of data, but just to see, project into the future. What do we kind of see? Because we want to be ahead of the curve.
No, absolutely. And one of the things I think someone wrote it in here, YouTube University, right?
Yeah.
There's so much knowledge in YouTube. It still blows my mind that you could essentially learn a whole career off of YouTube. Someone out there has made a video, has explained something in such a great way where no matter who you are, you have the opportunity to continue growing and learning. I think one of the things as human beings that sometimes we put our own limitations on ourselves without realizing that our brain has like no capacity. There's no like, it's not like a hard drive, right? Like it doesn't say, hey, you have one TV and you filled it up. You have to go like purchase another $1 a month to get more data in your brain. No, it's unlimited. Can you guys share with me some, maybe like a success story from what you guys have learned so far in your careers?
I'll share when we close on 133 units in March. That's that's our biggest success story, and it took 2 years. We learned a lot, right? Because when you partner up with people that are doing it, like actually submit offers and closing deals, because they have over like 20, I think like 2,300 units under their belt, but they doing it day in, day out, doing due diligence. Is they're doing it all. They're doing asset management, and that's when I learned a lot myself personally, right? From that, from when they got into under contracts with raising capital, from retrading, and all the stuff that these sellers hide. I would never learn that much if I never got a deal on the contract with these guys, right? So that was my success, my most success story, just learning so much from these guys.
First deal, right? I think we're writing the next one, and it's really taking a different approach as to how we vet, operators and deals, and how conservative we're being and what we're looking for, set, strict set of standards. So I think we're writing the next one. So hopefully, in the next couple months we can, kind of share that. But, huge learning opportunity leading up to it, during it, even now, and, having amazing partners. So, and this is just like a little piece of advice for anyone, right? Seek a mentor or seek a mastermind, a mentorship. You're going to cut a lot of time. I was trying to do this before joining one, and everything was everywhere, right? So you want to kind of hone in, understand the vision, the strategy, So yeah, partner up with amazing people and partner up with great mentors.
I'll add to that, the mental part. You definitely seek out people that are closing deals, right? Or teams that are closing deals, even the bigger companies that are closing deals, because they want to help. Right now we have a big company that's trying to help us get into a big deal, right? You can reach out to the investor relations or the acquisition guy. These guys are great people, and you can cut your learning curve like by months just by partnering up with them. Because we're learning so much off this deal that on our first 2 years that we didn't know about operations, right? And that's what the real fun is. So every day, son.
That's it. Couldn't agree more, guys. I know you guys spoke before. Eddie, you touched on it about being forward thinking and really doing that market research and, just research into the people that you're potentially operating with, right? And calling your partners. What's next for you guys, for your individual companies? Both, I know you guys also dabble on the smaller multifamily side as well and the single family. So I'm curious as to what's next for WV Capital Holdings and Epic Property Ventures.
We're excited. We're excited about where we are right now. I always say this, and I hope it doesn't upset a lot of people. I like the high interest rates. It's keeping a lot of people out, right? If you can make it pencil right now, by the time everything exactly less competition. So if you can make it work now, like you're gonna be able to make it in the future, right? So for us is partnering up with great operators. We also we want to also give back and help other people that are like new in their journey, or just starting off, kind of like where we were when we started. There wasn't a lot that we knew, and we had to do it through just investing a lot of time. And if we're able to kind of cut that learning curve for someone else, right, then we definitely want to do that. We had a lot of people that helped us, that helped us to this point, and want to like give back. So the main things for us, right, is getting into more deals, partnering with people who are experienced, that we truly enjoy, you know, having a conversation with. No dull conversations, or it's like that type of person where like you can't wait to get off the phone. Like that's not what we're looking for. But then also like helping anyone who wants to, kind of kickstart their journey and get into multifamily. Willie, if I missed anything.
I didn't. For me, many of you guys don't know, my dad is Dominican. So one of our biggest goals is to create a nonprofit to build a baseball facility in Dominican Republic. So people don't know Dominicans live, breathe baseball, right? They die blood. We could talk about baseball all day. And yeah, so my dad, he loves training little kids. So if I'm able to provide that for him, he's getting older, right? So hopefully in the next 10 years, I'm able to have that dream come out and then build it, and he could go out there and because Dominicans, that's all their dream is, to make it to the MLB. There's no other sport that they love. And they'll play baseball with sticks, rocks, you name it, right? These just real life stories, like, and so that's just one of my future goals I'm trying to accomplish through multifamily.
An incredible goal, Willie. We have a friend that asks, where is your family from in DR?
They're from Santiago.
Ooh,
Awesome.
I went there as a little girl. My mom's best friend was Dominican. So I actually grew up eating a lot of Dominican food. And I could probably say that was like my second home. But I completely agree. Dominicans love baseball. So much so that I think when you do, right? Because I'm going to say when you do, not if you, when you create that foundation, you're going to impact so many people's lives in such a way that only multifamily can really give you the opportunity to do so. So I can't
That's for
wait to
sure.
see that. I'm going to be looking
Yes.
out, you know,
Yeah, that's for
to
sure.
hear that. Going back a little bit to, because you touched base on like family, you talked about your three little girls, and I can't, I have one, and I struggle to balance my whole like life in general. But how are you guys balancing your lives? I mean, I know Eddie, you just got engaged, right? So that
Yes.
must be exciting.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
very
And
excited. Thank you.
but how are you guys balancing, life and multifamily? Because those, I
For
feel like multifamily is you have to give so much time to it, but you're doing it for a reason, right? And it's your life.
so yeah, a lot of unpaid hours. For me, I start with my girl. She's like the MVP. She helps me a lot. Um, Sometimes, she does take the kids a lot, but sometimes I give her a break. I take the kids with me wherever my work site, my office. I'll take them with me, right? So there's no balance. You know what I mean? I'm just an entrepreneur, being a dad, and being a business owner. You gotta take them with. I take them with me, man. I took my daughter, my 8-year-old, to my first closing, right? And till this day, she's trying to go back, right? She's like, I love Dallas. Everything's about Dallas right now. We're going back to Dallas, so that was a very grateful moment for me, for her to be able to see me close our first deal. She's always asking about Eddie, my other partners. So, and she's only 8, so yeah, there's no, for me, that's me. It's like I'm just doing it, if a lot of hours.
I love it. A lot of unpaid hours. And I saw the video that I see that where you take her and you do things with her, and what a great thing to be exposed to at such a young age, right? Because she's seeing dad accomplish so many great obstacles, really. And for her, it's like your ceiling becomes her floor, and it's just knowing that we're able to do so much so that our children can do beyond that is
Yeah,
you a
helping
blessing.
them think, helping them know is bigger. Think bigger. I tell her all the time, think bigger. That's MFM helped me put that. Just think bigger. Think you could do way bigger. I think don't think small. And she tell her friends right there, I'm in real estate, or I buy buildings and stuff. And these little kids don't know that until they get older, right? So
Where can people find you? Where can they find you, whether that is online or if they have more questions, if we want to get you guys to know you more personally, how can everybody locate you?
I think we're everywhere, right? On every social media platform. So myself, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, handle is Eddie_Esparza1. And for Epic Property Ventures is just Epic Property Ventures, all long one long word. But yeah, I mean, we also have our newsletters as well. So pop into each of our websites, subscribe. Willie has a different investor base than I do, and we kind of cater to our own investor base, and just offering tips, advice, what we're seeing in the market, and then updates, coming from us.
you can find me on Instagram. I am Willie Henriquez. My website, WB Capital Holdings, LinkedIn, my first and last name. Um, but definitely go on my website. I have a free ebook, and I have a 7-day passive real estate investing email course. You guys could download that, you know what I mean, to learn a little bit more what we do.
For my last question, and to kind of close this out before we allow the audience to just come in and ask you anything. It's my favorite question, and I always have to ask this, but how did multifamily change your life? And we'll go with Willie first, and then we'll go over to Eddie.
Um, it opened the door for me to impact my life, my kids' life, and other people around me life. And I know for sure, it's a matter of when, right? I'm gonna make a great impact on a lot of people, especially my family and others that I bring into the space.
I also add, you know, the sky's the limit, right? Like, who would have thought that we're in a position where we can, buy these large apartment complexes, kind of growing up the way that we did in a position, as minorities, right? As Mexicans, first generation, we're just kind of thinking about like what's next, and keeping the family together and making sure that our health is intact. Never would I have imagined coming to a position or a place where we're tackling these kind of larger properties, but it's just not the properties, not the like the things that you can touch. It's also the things that get built up within you, and that includes like the mindset, that includes your goals, that includes your vision, how you kind of take a look look at things and how you tackle them. So, honestly, aside from like closing the deal, right? If we didn't have that deal, just knowing what we know now, like we can get into another one. So it's like the skills, it's being able to understand that you don't have to do it all yourself. Like, partner with people, you know, seek out mentorship. There's self-help books, a lot of podcasts that then I started kind of diving into. So it just kind of opens up the world um, opens up the doors to a different world.
Well, thank you guys so much for spending some time with us here today, just to talk over a few things. I know I took a lot away from that, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of just open our floor up to everyone. Hold on, let me change over to gallery view just so we can see everyone's faces. And if anyone wants to come up and unmute and ask Willie or Eddie a question, please do.
Hi guys.
Hey,
Hey,
So I had two questions. The first is, being Hispanic, when you first introduced this idea of buying apartment complexes, multi-million-dollar apartments to your family, how receptive were they? Because I'm always like, you're buying what? And how many millions? And oh, you think you're the rich one? So like my family, they hear me, but they're not really like, oh, here, let me learn. So how did you guys get past that?
well, go ahead. I could go after you.
oh
I could go
man,
first.
I don't have a good answer for that. I can just tell you where I am right now. Um, I was scared of having this conversation with my parents, and it wasn't until we closed our first deal that my fiance said, "Hey, like this is a huge goal. This is what you've been working so hard for. You need to tell them." So took them out to a nice little dinner, right? And I told them I had an announcement. I told them that we closed on this property, and I could tell that they didn't truly understand it, right? They didn't understand because it's just so large. My dad had a lot of questions. Just the way that I was brought up was we do it ourselves, we take care of everything, and we save money. It wasn't, hey, we invest the money, we hire people, or we delegate, or we partner, right? It was and I always go back to kind of Shark Tank, what Mark Cuban says, like, do you want 100% of the grape, or like, a fraction of the watermelon? Like, I want the watermelon, and we're thinking about the grape. So even now, like, they ask me a lot of questions now, and they're more kind of comprehending it. But honestly, other family members, I don't feel like they started kind of catching on until like we closed like the first deal. That like really just kind of catapulted us, I feel like. And then they start asking more questions. They start feeling more comfortable. And the other thing was also like social media, putting a lot of like content out, a lot of educational pieces. A lot of my uncles and aunts, they actually share a lot of like my TikToks within themselves, and they always like put nice little comments on my on my videos. And I think it's funny that they're always like, talking about like, oh, what is Eddie talking about this time, right? Um, but yeah, it's just, for me, like, I don't have a great answer because I didn't. For me, it was, I wanted to kind of showcase like, hey, this was done, and um, yeah, I mean, yeah, sorry, I can't help you as much.
Like Eddie said, it's important just using social media to let them know what you're doing, because they don't know this. Hispanic, they don't know about buying buildings, right? So you gotta show them that you're doing it, you're underwriting, you're walking properties. Sooner or later, they're gonna ask you, hey, what are you doing, right? I want to learn more, right? They get curious. It's like a lot of people follow you, but they don't like your pictures. However, they do see you walking, they're gonna ask you what you're doing, and it just keep educating them. That's what I'm doing. I have brothers that want to start learning more and want to invest eventually when they exit a couple projects, but it's because I social media and a lot of educational stuff.
No, that was a great response. And then my second question was, what's your end goal in multifamily? Do you aspire to like be boots on the ground one day and actually do the construction? Or I know Eddie, you said you wanted to pay it forward and like teach other students. Like, would you want to be a sponsor at the end of all of this?
Yeah, I think both of our goals are like to be sponsors. Like we definitely want to help people. We've seen a lot of things that we thought we wouldn't have seen. Relationships that we're glad we kind of steered away from. So just kind of, helping people and guide them, even if it's not with us. Just kind of just paying it forward. Um, Multifamily, right? It's continuing to, add more to the portfolio. We're also taking a look at smaller deals, JV opportunities, getting to the point where we're also managing properties in our own backyard. And what else? We've had a lot that we've talked about, and we have like our 5-year plan. But for right now is just adding more to the portfolio, you know, honing in on certain skills, and then just paying it forward.
Yeah, Eddie nailed it. One of my goals is to become a sponsor so I could help other students or others, right, get into the space and learn more. And we want to we started a free community just for that, to just provide value for free to people so they can learn more. We love connecting people to other markets, right? If you're in New York, we're gonna send everybody to you guys in New York. You're in North Carolina, that's what we always do. Yeah, that's but my ultimate goal is to become a sponsor, help a lot of other people get into this space.
Thank you guys for your response and your time.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
I do have to ask Eddie, I see all the books in the background. What is your favorite book out of all those?
Oh my God. Another difficult question.
That's all I have.
I will say, the one that's really impacted me a lot has been, where is it? I think I lent it out, but it was by David Goggins. And I was so upset I wasn't there this year at Peak Partnership because he spoke there. So upset. But the Can't Hurt Me book. Read the book, I actually listened to the audio book. And if you like audiobooks, I say listen to it first before you read it,
He's
because he
hardcore.
adds,
He's
what was that?
hardcore. He's
Yeah, I
hardcore.
know. I
He's,
know,
I'm almost done with his book. He's a hardcore. He's
man.
different.
He adds like a kind of podcast style, like in between the chapters. He summarizes what he went through, adds additional kind of color to his book. And man, if he can like put his body through this and just have that mindset, like we can underwrite another deal. We can, hear a bunch of rejections all day. Uh, like it makes some of these things just like minor. Like, I didn't have a good night's sleep, and I'm feeling cranky, right? It's get out of that mindset. This guy put his body through so much, he didn't break, that like I can run on like 2 hours. Like, not a problem.
He was the best speaker at Peak.
Oh, I had a feeling.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I missed it too.
We're on the same boat.
As well.
Oh my God. I'm not alone.
Different. He is different.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's different for sure. I was telling a friend in my office, like, yo, this guy is like this world, like, he put his body through like a lot, a lot.
It's so funny. One of the one of the persons that was there at peak had asked him a question, and he was like young, 18-year-old. And David Goggin goes, if I grew up in your generation, I wouldn't have made it because all of you guys are weak. You know, he was coming at him so hard.
Oh my
He's
God.
like, this generation is full of weak people. Like, you guys have to get up and get to it. Like, I don't know what your generation is doing.
Did he mention what's his next goal? What is it, like his challenge? He challenging right now because he's always doing something.
He's doing just a lot of he's actually going to be in New York July 20th.
Yeah, for Aspire.
Yeah, for Aspire. But he's just touring a lot right now. I don't really know what else he's doing other than that.
My favorite part was when Tyler jumped up and started doing push-ups with David Goggins.
Oh
That
yeah.
was killer.
He's like, how many did you do? He's like, I don't know, man, but I did one more than you. That was so good.
That's awesome.
Oh, but guys, thank you so much for being here with us. I really enjoyed our time with you guys, and thank you for going through the rounds with the questions. I appreciate your transparency, which is super important to us, and Jahaira and I as we navigate our company at Blackbridge. But glad we were able to connect and continue following you guys because I'm a fan of what you guys are doing, man. And just you guys teaming up with a good set of people, good partnerships. It speaks volumes of you guys as well. So thank you for your time, guys.
Obviously, I'm a
Thank you
huge
for
fan
having
of
us.
y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much. Definitely a pleasure. Thank you, Eric, Jahaira, for having us on. Fran, Michael, Meg, Francisco for joining on, having some great questions. So, yeah, thank you so much for the platform.